So, hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today on this live webinar. I know that a few of you can't make it, so we will kickstart it and then you can catch it on the recorded episode. So, today is all about journaling and the power of journaling. We're going to discuss who it's for. So, journaling can be for absolutely anyone seeking self improvement. It's people looking to manage stress and anxiety. I know that everyone has that in different shapes and forms. Creative thinkers, so problem solvers, if you're one of those people with all the tabs open in your head. And even people that love to goal set dreams, aspirations, but sometimes you're super, super harsh on yourself and you can be a little bit negative. So, journaling is for anyone and everyone. And the reason why we journal, the reason why journaling helps is because it's a tool for you to reflect your thoughts and emotions. It doesn't have to be paragraphs and paragraphs. It can just be a word of how you feel, emotion. It could be a brain dump of all your thoughts and feelings. It could be journaling when you're super happy. It could be journaling around food. You can do it for anything. It reduces stress and anxiety because once you have things down on paper, it's a little bit more of a clearer overview and you're able to park them there. So, especially nighttime journaling is great if you've had a busy day, a busy week. Journal, put it all pen to paper. You know that when you wake up, all those thoughts are going to be there. So, it will definitely enhance your sleep a little bit better because you've got it all there, pen to paper. You know, when you get up, they've not gone anywhere. All those thoughts and feelings are still there. It can also help you challenge any setbacks or different routes or tracks that you may have taken. And a lot of people, whether you're a type A person or a type B person, I know we've spoken about those type A and type B persons on previous episodes. So if you're either person, you have a busy mind, and sometimes it's hard to gather your thoughts and close those tabs down. So that's another reason why we journal. So the next part is how to start. So how do we go about it? Now, the biggest thing for me when I started journaling, um, I started journaling way, way, way when I was young because I'm an only child. So I used to write to my invisible best friend. I had an imaginary best friend. And I used to write to her in my little book with a little padlock. I'm sure any 90s or 80s people can remember those books that you had with a magic little pen. And yeah, you used to write and journal my thoughts away of how I felt around starting school, all sorts of things. And then as I got a little bit older, started to get a little bit deeper, the thoughts started to come a little bit fuller, faster, a little bit more emotions, and, really difficult times around that. So then I started to journal to someone that I really cared about, which was my grandma. So I'd write as if I was speaking to her because unfortunately she's no longer with us. So I used to journal and speak with a view for me that I was talking to her. And when I had any difficult questions that I couldn't answer or I needed a bit of guidance on, then I would say, well, what would my grandma suggest for me to do? How would I, hash it out with her with no judgment and no kind of no restrictions in place. You can have any feeling or thought when you're journaling to yourself. You can do it in any way, shape, or form. It could be just reflections of gratitude. So it could be, I am grateful for having a coffee on my own in the morning. Our busy mums, I know 100% what that feels like when you can't have just 2 minutes of peace and you're just thinking, So that gratefulness of you having time of a little coffee on your own, let's appreciate that. Let's really, hone in on how much that made your day. You can be grateful around any simple things, simple terms. Hi, Jade, you okay? So
Uh,
we just had
yeah.
Hi, lovely. We've just started a little bit, but I'll just let you carry on and then you can catch the beginning on replay. So we're just up to discussing our journaling and why we journal and the benefits that it can have for us. And we were just talking about making lists of gratitude. And they can be super simple. And definitely for busy people that live lifestyles in the fast lane that's just constantly looking towards the future plans, the ones that we kind of miss because we're just constantly thinking of what we're doing tomorrow. We don't actually take that present moment of actually, today's been a really good day. Although I've had a few negative points, I'm actually really grateful because I managed to sneak a quick workout in, or I managed to see a loved one that I haven't seen for ages. Very simple things that we don't take for granted. For example, I see one of my old bosses the other day when I was walking through Marks and Spencer, and my journaling that evening, um, was that I actually really missed that person, and just bumping into them on my dinner break was such a lovely moment. We had a little quick chit chat, and so when I was reflecting on the end of the day, I was like, do you know what? That person brought a lot to me at that time when I worked for them, and just getting that deeper understanding and linking into your thoughts and feelings instead of just rolling over to the next day. Um, so gratitude is one place to start when we're journaling. Also thinking about your challenges. So if there's any hurdles or challenges that you've received that day, it might be toddler crying, it might be difficult workload, stresses with deadlines, stresses with colleagues at work, not understanding. It could be your partner that's gave you a little bit of challenge that day. All these challenges, if you're able to put them pen to paper, first off, you can understand, was that challenge actually a challenge, or was it me misreading communication? Did I read it wrong? Did I read the situation wrong? Or could I have expressed myself in a different way? Because a lot of journaling is about self-learning, and sometimes we always kind of sit on the defense, especially if we want to be right, we want to have the last word, or we're 100%. Like, sometimes we need to look inwards and be like, actually, did I come across in the way that I meant to? Could I have come across and tackled it a little bit better? So that there, it's just a place for you to try and be understanding, but yet maybe if that happens again, that challenge or that hurdle, how would you like to deal with that situation in the future if that shows its head again? It might be if you're journaling around challenges around food and you make decisions that you're not 100% happy with, you can write those thoughts and say, I don't know why I continued eating that buffet. I knew I was full, da da da. Then you can say, right, next time I'm going to notice that and I'm going to remember that I journaled about this and I didn't like the way I felt about that. So I'm going to make my choices different the following time. So it's all about just creating a bit more of a connection of what you're doing. So, does that make sense, guys? Have you got any questions there at the minute? Okay, cool. So next part is journaling prompts. So people find it super difficult after a busy day and they're like, I don't even know where to just start. Like, my brain is so busy. And that then, when you hit your head on the pillow and you can't get to sleep because your brain is actually wired, that's where journaling or brain dumping all your thoughts on paper would be super beneficial. But to get it started, it's all about those open questions. So, first off, it could be, what are three things that you have achieved today? So, there could be any little three things, big or small. And then you can say, what recent challenges have I overcome? You can write those down because that's a positive way of thinking. Instead of you asking yourself, oh, what's gone wrong today? It's saying, what challenges have you overcome? So it's looking at it in a more positive presence. If you could have a superpower, what would it be? So that's always one to get your mind thinking because it gets you to ask yourself, what am I actually searching for in life? A lot of the time, you'll find that the answer to that question, because I've asked it many, many times, sometimes would be that you'd want more time. So then you can say, right, okay, if I was given more time, what would I do with more time? Then you can ask yourself, how am I going to get more time? So it might be that you start journaling about your routines. And I think, Jade, one of the things for you, like sometimes we've had to change things. What used to work for you now didn't. So we've changed it and moved forward. And especially with like meal prepping and things like that, for when you're back to back and your week is super busy, meal prepping is great. But sometimes if we journal about it, then we can say, well, meal prepping is great, but I'm not getting much satisfaction from food. So, what needs to change? Okay, I might just meal prep for two meals and then be a little bit more flexible on the others so I get more creativity. So you can start to become your own mentor because you're the only one that knows you the best. I, as a mentor, can fling ideas here, there, and everywhere, but you know yourself best, and you know when you start going down that tunnel of emotional kind of self-sabotage routes, and doing journaling or brain dumping or whatever you want to call it and getting pen to paper is a way of you venting. Some days it will be two lines. Some days it might be paragraphs. You might not be able to stop and someone might interrupt you and you might be really cross because you're in your flow, your creative flow of getting all your thoughts down on paper. And I definitely get a buildup of emotions because I'm a perfectionist. So journaling for me, I write down where, what this is causing me. So it used to be a lot about housework. I'd get really stressed about housework, not having it, to the perfect thing and, whatnot. And I'd get annoyed with other people not doing their bit in the house, which I'm sure we've all experienced. And I used to journal about it and address it with my partner differently. So I would journal about it and get all my rage out, like I'd be writing with the pen. But then when I actually look at it and say, if I spoke like that to someone, how would I feel? If someone came at me like that, how would I feel? That's not going to be the best way to approach this. So once you've got it out on paper, then you can say, right, how would I feel? How would I want to be spoken to about this conversation? So it doesn't have to be about cleaning the house. It could be something with the colleague, etc. And it gives you more of a calmer way to brainstorm about bringing that to someone else's attention. And also, it makes you reflect that actually someone not putting the shoes away in the right place, is that worth an argument that is gonna disrupt our evening? And then you can start being like, actually, no, I'm at peace with it now. I don't need to take that any further. So you have that measurable factor of how big or small this needs to be. So yeah, I hope that little tip there helps you. So other journaling prompts might look about having a peak and a pit. So you don't always have to do journaling written, or you can do it openly with your friends, you can do it openly around the dinner table with your partner or family, and this is a great one for children. So at the end of the day, you can have a discussion point of, right, what has been my peak today? So your peak might be, I got a PB on my run, or I cooked an amazing meal, or I baked an amazing cake, whatever your win is. And then you might have a a pit, and you might be like, right, okay, this has happened today. It was an unforeseen event. I feel really bad about it, and talk about it. But having that peak and pit conversation then opens it up in more of a open topic rather than a moan. So we want to balance our negativity out with our positives. So again, if you're writing and you're in a bit of a headspace where you're quite negative, if you wrote three negative thoughts down, it might be, I'm not clever, I'm not good at my job, I'm not a good mum, or I'm not a good partner, anything like that. If you've got that really negative self-sabotage talk going on, then you could start saying, right, I'm going to rewrite these in a positive way. And it's really hard, but it's about changing the way you speak to yourself. So it might be that you say to yourself, I'm not good enough. Then you ask yourself, actually, is that true? No, it's not true. I am good enough. I am a loving wife, or, I'm a fantastic friend. I do this and that. But give yourself a backup of why you are good, why you are enough. So challenge those negative beliefs and counteract them with positive ones. So if you've got one negative belief, I'm sure that you can pick three positives that you've done that day or maybe in that hour that show that you are an incredible woman. So it's about counteracting those negative thoughts. Another one top tip when you're journaling and wanting to calm down that self-critic, especially if you're leaving work and you're thinking, oh my God, I haven't done enough. I've got to go in tomorrow, or I need to stay over, or, that critic that just wants you to be more, 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 which is really pressurizing. Then actually say, okay, I haven't done three of the things that was on my list today. But what I have done is 10 other things that have absolutely blown the other ones out the water. So instead of thinking about what you haven't done, start using that journaling as actually what have I done? So, if you are saying, I haven't done this, haven't done that, but actually you've covered so much more ground. You've probably done about three people's jobs in the space of, 2 hours. You've walked the dog, you've done this, you've done that, you've fed five people, or, you've been a shoulder to cry on for your friend. All these things that you're not giving yourself credit for. So there's so many things that you can so much things that you can journal about. Now, again, the times of day of where to start with journaling. So I want you to pick a habit that you already do, that you enjoy doing. So it might be your morning coffee, it might even be as daft that you get to work 5 minutes earlier just so you can sit in your car and have 5 minutes before you go into work. It could be just something, all you need is 5 minutes. Anywhere in the day that you can just have your little notepad, you might have it in the side of your car. So before you get home, so you pull up on your drive or wherever, before you get home, you might even just journal there. Because sometimes if you leave it right to the end of the day, sometimes it's really easy not to do it because you just think, oh, the day's over, like I'm starting again tomorrow. So habit stack it with something that you already do. We want you to find it super simple. So make it fun, get a nice cool pen, a nice brand new book, or you could even download an app or do it in your calendar. If you're tech savvy, if you're on a computer all day, you can do it in your calendar. What I used to do was at 11 p.m. at the time at 11 p.m. on my calendar every day. I'd just journal like 3 things, not at 11 p.m. at night, but I'd just drop it down there so it wasn't impacted in my calendar day. And then what I would do um, is say if I was feeling like a little bit low, I would then go, how was I feeling last month? And I'd look at the month before, and it was probably a little bit similar because it might have been a hormonal. So if I was like, I'm really sad, I'm a bit down, I feel a bit depressed, things are getting to me, it might be a hormonal thing. So that's where journaling can really start coinciding with your hormones. And you can be like, right, I know my trigger points. I'm 5 days before my period. I know that I'm going to feel a little bit fatigued. My training isn't the best, that kind of thing. So you can really get to know your body. And yeah, I hope that these journaling tips have helped you because honestly, it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be daily. It could be weekly, monthly, but just something for you to reflect on yourself. I hope that helps you guys. Good.
Yeah, really helpful. Thank you.
Oh, good. Good stuff. It's sometimes really hard to put pen to paper, but whether you do it vocally with a friend, I know that some people in lockdown created gratitude group chats and kept like each other accountable with like their friend or whoever, and like they just have one group chat where it'd just be like in the morning, wake up and do like 3 gratefuls. And just kind of, and then if the other person didn't do it, then they'd be like, Oi, Sarah, you've not put yours in today. And, and keep things accountable like that. So they're all things just to be a little bit more present in the moment. But if you have any questions or you want any other advice, then let me know and I will send this one out on record if you want to listen to it again. Okay.
Thank
Good
you so much.
stuff. No worries. I hope you all have a lovely evening.
You too. Thank
See
you.
you soon, ladies. Bye.
Bye. Bye.